So we have been looking at the book of Numbers, and we saw some things so far. We have seen why it is called as the book of Numbers. We saw what other names. We saw that it could also be called as the book of murmurings, or book of travels and journeys or wanderings. We also saw how the uh, chapters in the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy are around the travel and the camping of the people of Israel. So last time I had shown you this particular screen where we had seen the sequence in which the people of Israel had traveled. They started on Passover. We looked at what year, which month they traveled. We read the verses, but I'm just going to revise that portion so that it is we can remember it. They started their travel in the first year, first month on Passover. They crossed the Red Sea. Then they came to a place called as Mara, where they were where they grumbled against Moses because of water. Then they came to a place called as Elim. Then they came to a wilderness of Sin, and there they grumbled for meat, and God gave them quail and manna. Then they came to the place called as Rephidim. That is the place God gave them water from a rock the first time. So God provided them water from a rock on two occasions, one at the beginning of the 40 years, which was here at Rephidim. And then there was another one later where God became angry with Moses because he did not follow exactly what God had said. So this is the first occasion at Rephidim, and there was a battle with Amalek, and then they arrive at the mountain of Sinai. So the whole thing, whatever I have told from Passover till arrival of Sinai, it takes them 3 months, 3 months to reach this place. Once they reach Mount Sinai, they camp over there. God gives them the law, and the people sin by creating a golden calf. God punishes them uh, for their sin. Then Moses goes back on the mountain again for 40 days. Then we see he receives all the instruction for the tabernacle. Moses starts creating the tabernacle, and the tabernacle gets created and dedicated on the second year, first day of first month. So one whole year is over. At the beginning of the second year, the tabernacle is ready. In after that, for 1 month, they receive the instructions about how to do the sacrifices, laws, and all the Levitical rules and everything, which is the book of Leviticus in that 1 month. And then they have the first census. And after that, after the census is over, in the second year, second month, they start from Sinai to the promised land. Okay. So this is only till that point I have shown you this sequence of events. So they are going to go to the promised land. They start from Sinai. Okay. Now we see a lot of their travel from in the book of Numbers. They receive instructions, they camp at some place, then they travel, then they break the law, they get punished, and we see a lot of these things happening in the book of Numbers. Now, uh, we saw why this book was given to us. We saw all the different reasons they murmured. Last time we saw why they grumbled so much. They grumbled because of their enemies, because of the leadership, because of water, because of food, because of just the hardship of the way, the difficulty of the way. They grumbled because of that. They grumbled because God judged them. So they grumbled for many different reasons. And then we saw in New Testament, Paul picks up all these grumblings from book of Numbers, and he puts it in First Corinthians chapter 10 verse 1 to 13, which we read last time. And he gives all these incidents And finally he says that God was not pleased with them. For 40 years they tested God. God was not pleased with them. And he says they craved evil things. They became idolaters. They became immoral. They tested the Lord. They grumbled. And finally he says all this was given to us as examples so that we can watch how we stand and walk in our Christian life. Okay, so we can see that Paul uses the book of Numbers to help the believers to understand how to walk before God in their Christian life. So we can also learn about that, how to be faithful to God, how to walk with God in our Christian life by reading the book of Numbers. Now, couple of verses we did not read. We'll read only one of them. Uh, not these words, but in Hebrews, we see the writer of Hebrews takes this example of the people traveling through the desert, and he says, take care, brothers and sisters, that there will not be any one of you an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God. So he says, that be careful in your Christian life. Don't do what the Israelites did in the desert. They had an evil, unbelieving heart. These are not normal, ordinary people. These are Israelites. So after Mount Sinai, we must remember that the Israelites had a different relationship with God. After Mount Sinai, God and Israel came in a covenant relationship. And God said to them, this is life. These are the things. If you obey me, this is life. If you disobey me, there is the curses and it will be death. Choose life. And they said, we will. They said, we will obey everything that you tell us. Okay, they committed to the Lord to obey. So God punished them severely for disobeying. Now the relationship is not an ordinary relationship, it's a covenant relationship. So they also suffered the curses and the punishment, and also had the blessings as they obeyed or disobeyed God. In Jude, we see that Jude mentions, now I want to remind you, though you know everything once and for all, that the Lord, after saving a people out of the land of Egypt, subsequently destroyed those who did not believe. So the Lord saved them, but then later destroyed them. Okay, so we should be careful. Again, this is being given as an example to Christians, that remember, we are dealing with the same God, same Lord. Okay, he saved the people out of Egypt, but subsequently he destroyed because they did not believe. So it's very important to have a heart that is believing. We should not get hardened. Our heart should not get hardened. We should not give ourselves to unbelief. We should have faith in God. And in Hebrews, again, it's mentioned, giving all these examples in verse 11 of chapter 4. It says, therefore, let's make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will fall by following the same example of disobedience. Okay, again, the same examples from Numbers, and comparing it to Christian walk, and saying that you will fall away if you follow that example. So once again, we can remember, once saved is not always saved. Okay, the writers are saying again and again by showing the examples from Numbers that if you don't believe, if you don't walk according to how God tells you to walk, you will fall away, you will get destroyed. So don't go back, follow God, obey God. So that's what we saw last time. And we quickly saw the central message that we can see from Numbers. And we read a passage where it spoke about how the cloud rested upon the tabernacle, and the people of Israel would move only if the cloud lifted and moved. So they did not know how long the cloud will stay in one place. As we read the passage, it says the cloud could be there for only one evening, and next morning it would lift up and go. Sometimes it would be there only for 2 days, sometimes a month, sometimes a year. People never knew when the cloud would get lifted. They always had to be watching, they always had to be ready in their heart and mind to travel. So that was the passage we looked at, and what we can see from that is people always, you have to travel this Christian life with guidance from God. There will be difficulties on the way, but there will always be deliverance and provision if we walk according to God's guidance. All right. So that was what we saw till last time. Today, let's look at the book itself. Now, the book can be divided into 3 themes. Okay. Uh, you can actually give different chapters. For example, the 3 themes would be: first is the details of the first generation. Second theme would be wanderings in the desert. The third theme would be details of the second generation. So in the details of the first generation, you could read up to from Numbers chapter 1 to almost chapter 14. I haven't noted it down here, but almost that portion will cover the first generation, details about it. And in that, there is the first census, then there is instructions for travel, and we see Israel's refusal to enter the promised land. In the second theme, we see God punished them, and now they are wandering in the desert. So in this wandering in the desert is for like 40 years, and it covers around chapter 15 to chapter 20. And in this wandering, the first generation completely perishes. And again, we see people rebelling. We see the shortcomings of the 3 leaders of Israel, Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. We see their shortcomings. So Bible honestly records that these people fell and were and disobeyed God. Uh, and the second theme, third theme, we see about the second generation, and we see a second census happening. And we saw that in this second census, nobody from the first generation was present except Joshua and Caleb. And then there is instructions to enter the promised land. So we can make this book into 3 different sections. Each of this section has its own subsection of what is like instructions, travel, rebellions. So we can see that. But broadly, 3 sections are there in this book: first generation detail, wandering in the desert, and the details of the second generation. All right. So today, hopefully we will see from chapters 1 to 4. Let's read for chapter 1. Let's read from Numbers chapter 1, verses 1 to 3. Numbers chapter 1, verses 1 to 3.
And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls. Uh, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies.
Okay, and now read verse 47 from the same chapter. Verse 47.
But the Levites after the tribe of their fathers were not numbered among them.
Okay, so this will quickly cover in short what this first chapter is telling us. Okay, so when we read the first chapter, what we need to know is there is a census. People are being counted. but this is not, everybody is not getting counted. This is a military census. Every male about 20 years old who can go to war, they are alone being counted. Okay. Moses and Aaron do this counting with the help of leaders from each tribe. So God names who will help Moses and Aaron from each tribe. So there are 12 leaders, and they, along with Moses and Aaron, do this numbering. Only males are counted. Levites are excluded from this numbering, and the other people are women, children, older men, if there were older men, and foreigners. These are not counted. This group is not counted because women and children are understandable because only male about 20 years old. Older men because only those who can go for war, only they are being counted. If there's anyone who cannot go for war for any reason, they will not be included. So we don't know that number. How many would that be? Secondly, foreigners are not counted. We know that when Israel came out of Egypt, many other groups of people joined with them. And they also said, we will follow this God of yours, and they joined with Israel. But when the census is happening, God says, take a census of only the sons of Israel by their families, by their father's household, according to the number of names. Okay, so only the tribes of Israel is being counted. The foreigners are not included in this census. So this is chapter 1. This is what is happening in chapter 1. Now, in chapter 2, we see how the tribes are arranged around the tabernacle. But before we go to chapter 2, I think we should go to chapter 3 and read about the Levites, because the Levites also are being counted. We saw that they are not counted in this census, but there is a separate counting of the Levites that is happening. That happens in chapter 3. Now let's read Numbers chapter 3, verses 14 and 15.
And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Number the children of Levi after the house of their fathers by their families, every male from a month old and upward shalt thou number them.
So Levites are being counted, but here the difference is anyone who is above 1 month old, from there it's being counted. In the other census, anyone who is 20 years and above, only those people are being counted. But when it comes to Levites, to those who serve the Lord, they are being counted right from their birth. Right as soon as they are born, it's almost like newborn, because one of the reasons for 1 month is for that first 1 month, they are not sure whether the child would survive or not. So that is that 1 month is been given for that. But after that 1 month, the child is counted as in the census to serve the Lord. So right from the birth, the child is dedicated to serve the Lord. So that kind of gives us a thought to think about when we serve the Lord. There is no age limit as to the upper limit or lower limit as to when we can start serving the Lord. We can start serving the Lord today. Today is the best day to start serving the Lord. Okay. Now let's read same chapter, Numbers chapter 3, verses 17 to 20. Now about Levites, this gives us some understanding about how this Levites are, the structure of this clan. Let's read chapter 17 to 20.
And these
Sorry,
were the
chapter
sons,
3, verses 17 to 20.
and these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon and Kohath and
Merari.
Merari. Uh, and these are the names of the sons of Gershon and their families, Libni and Shimei, and the sons of Kohath by their families, Aram and Izahar, Hebron and Uziel, and the sons of Merari by their families, Mahali, Mushi. These are the families of the Levites according to the house of their fathers.
Okay, so lots of names, but the idea is only this. The tribe of Levi comes from the son of Jacob, Levi. Now, Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. So these are the three names of sons of Levi. So in the tribe of Levi, there are three groups. The group of Gershon, the group of Kohath, and the group of Merari. Okay, these three are important because God gives these three groups separate tasks to do in the house of God. Okay, so that's the only thing we need to remember. Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, and they had further sons, but we are not really interested right now in their names. Okay, so that's the point at this time. And another thing is chapter 18, verse 7. Numbers chapter 18, verse 7.
Therefore, thou and thy sons with thee shall keep your priest's office for everything of the altar within the veil, and ye shall serve. I have given your priest's office unto you as a service of gift, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death.
Now, this is God speaking to Aaron. Now, this is the point I want to bring about. Who were the priests? We know when we think of the tribe of Levi, we immediately think about priest. That, okay, this is a tribe from where the priests of God are. But who were the priests? The priests were only the sons of Aaron. Okay, we just saw Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. But priesthood was not given to these three sub-tribes. Priesthood was given to only one family out of the tribe of Levi. Okay, so there are many families in the tribe of Levi, but only one family could become priest, and that family was the family of Aaron. Only Aaron and his sons could be the priests. So what were the other people doing in the tribe of Levi? Gershon, Kohath, Merari. They all would be helping in the tabernacle, doing different tasks, taking care of the tabernacle, later in the temple, and traveling, packing, traveling, setting up the tabernacle. All these tasks, the other Levites, group people in the tribe of Levi was doing. Priesthood was specifically reserved only for Aaron and his sons. God says in chapter 18, verse 7 to Aaron, I give you priesthood as a gift. So it was a gift which Aaron and his sons received from God. Now, if you remember what God says about us as New Testament, we are a kingdom of priests. Okay, something that was very special and which was very reserved for the sons of Aaron only, and which no other tribe could take, which nobody else in the tribe of Levi could take, only Aaron could take. That very special gift God has given to each one of us because we are called as the kingdom of priests. Okay, so if you read Revelations, it is mentioned over there. Now, so just as a side note, which group did Aaron and Moses belong to? Okay, Aaron, Moses, and Miriam, they are siblings. They have the same father and mother. Okay, they are from the tribe of Levi. So to which group did they belong? Kohath, Merari, or Gershon? Which group did they belong to? We can find that in Exodus chapter 6, verse 18 to 20. Can we read that? Exodus chapter 6, verses 18 and 20.
And the sons of Kohath, Amram and Izahar and Hebron and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 130 and 3 years. And the sons of Merari, Mahali, and Mushi. These are the families of Levi according to their generation. And Amram took him Jochebed, his father's sisters to wife, and she bare him Aaron and Moses. The years of the life of Amram were 137 years, and this.
Yeah, that's enough. Thanks. So Aaron and Moses, their father was Amram, and Amram was the son of Kohath. So we now know Moses and Aaron belonged to the sub-tribe of Kohath. They were from Kohath, okay? But uh, uh, they had a special place. They were priests, okay? So that was just something to remember, that Moses and Aaron belonged to the Kohathite group. Now we come to something about what did the tasks God gave them. We see this in Numbers chapter 3 and different places. We'll read only one part. Rest of those things are very similar, and I will just tell them quickly. Okay, so let's read Numbers chapter 3, verses 21 to 26. Remember, we are counting the Levites. Okay, so the Levitical group is getting counted now. Okay, so Numbers chapter 3, verses 21 to 26.
Of Gershon was the family of Lebanites, and the family of Shemit. These are the families of Gershonites. Those that are numbered of them according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward, even those that were numbered of them was 7,500. The families of the Gershonites shall pitch behind the tabernacle westward, and the chief of the house of the father of the Gershonites shall be Elisaph the son of Lael, and the charge of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation shall be the tabernacle and the tent and the covering thereof, and the hanging of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hanging of the court, and the curtain for the door of the court which is by the tabernacle and by the altar round about, and the cords of it for all the service thereof.
Okay, we're going to read only this portion. Two other portions, very similar, but for Kohathites and Merari. So I will quickly summarize. So Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. They became sub-tribes under the tribe of Levi. Now Gershonites were counted. They were 7,500 in number. And whenever the people of Israel traveled and they camped, the tabernacle was the center. And on the east and west and north and south, God had commanded specific tribes to put up their tents. Okay. People could not just go and camp anywhere they want. People could not just set up their camp wherever they wanted. There was a specific rule and order by which they had to travel, by which they had to camp. So the tabernacle was the center. The Levitical, uh, uh, the, the tribe of Levi surrounded the tabernacle on the east, west, north, and south. Then the other 12 tribes, okay, they would be placing their tent on the east, west, north, and south in a specific manner, which we will come to. So that is what is being said over here. Where did the Gershonites put their tent? The Gershonites, whenever they camped in the desert, the tents of the Gershonite, all these 7,500 people, their families, tents, cattle, everything, they would put up their tents on the west side of the tabernacle. They set up the tabernacle, then on the west, there will be the group of Gershonites. When we read, and so what was their job? They were responsible for all the fabrics in the tabernacle. Okay, they would carry the curtains from the outer court, they would carry the wall curtains, they would carry the tabernacle linen and its coverings. All these things were carried by the Gershonites. Okay, so God had assigned very specific role to them, what they will do. So when we read this book of Numbers, we see God is so orderly. There is no disorder. He has specific rule of who will travel, when they will travel, where they will pitch their tent, who will do what role, which tribe will do which role. Everything is listed out by God. He is very, very orderly. He's very specific. Okay, so that tells us, so being orderly, being disciplined, being, to plan well, this all comes from God, because our God is like that. Okay, so we see the responsibility of Gershonite carry all the fabrics, okay, of the tabernacle. Numbers chapter 3 verses 21 to 26, it speaks about Kohathites. They are 8,600 in number. Their camp is on the south of the tabernacle, and they carry all the Ark of the Covenant, the table of shewbread, the lampstand, the bronze altar, the altar of incense, the vessels of the sanctuary, the inner veil. Okay, the inner veil is not carried by Gershonite, even though it is a fabric. The inner veil is carried by the Kohathites. So anything inside the tabernacle, all the vessels and things, and on the outside, all the altar and the vessels, these are carried by the Kohathites. Where do they camp? On the south side. Okay. Further, third group, Merari. They are 6,200 in number. They camp on the north side. Their responsibility is carry the walls, the board, the bars that hold the board, the pillar, the socket, the cord, and the vessels from the outer court. Okay. These things are carried by the group of Merari. Now we see this number 6,200, 8,600. These are very small numbers. We saw that the men were 600, almost 600,000 from all the other tribes. Compared to that, the tribe of Levi is so tiny. Okay. Now the sons of Aaron, Aaron and Moses and their families, they camped on the east of the tabernacle. If you remember the study from the tabernacle, you will remember that the entrance is from the east. Okay, you enter the tabernacle from the east, you come to the bronze altar, you come to the laver, then you come to the entrance to the more holy place, and then the veil, and then the most holy place. So you come from the east, you are traveling to the west. So on the east, at the entrance of the tabernacle, the priest will have their camp. On the north, the group of Merari. On the west, I think it's west is Gershonite, south is Kohathites. Okay, so 4 places, 4 locations around the camp taken by 4 different sets of families. Okay, and after this, the other tribes will place their camps. Now, that is the interesting part I wanted to show you, because we could take a look at that. We have past 5 minutes extra I will take. Okay, because I just want to finish that part. Okay, so after understanding that the tabernacle, how the groups of the Levitical people camp around the tabernacle, let's look at how the tribes place themselves. Okay, so chapter 2, now we come to chapter 2. Chapter 2, we'll see at the arrangements of the tribes. Number chapter 2, verses 1 to 2.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standard with the ensign of their father's house far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch.
Okay, so God says everyone, each of the tribe, okay, group of tribe has their own flag and they have their own symbol. Okay, when they travel, they have to travel after their flag. When they pitch their tent, they have to pitch their tent around their flag. Okay, so they can't simply go and mix and put their tent anywhere. They have to be with the flag of their family. Okay, so every flag, every tribe or every group of tribe had a flag. Okay, and every group had a symbol. So there are 4 groups. Each one having 3 tribes. We'll see that. Let's read only one portion, Numbers chapter 2, verses 3 to 9. Okay, now we are counting the other tribes. Levitical counting is over. We are counting the other tribes. Numbers chapter 2, verses 3 to 9.
And on the east side towards the rising of the sun shall they of the standard of the camp of Judah pitch throughout their armies, and Nashon the son of Aminadab shall be captain of the children of Judah, and his host and those that were numbered of them were 14,600. And those that do pitch next unto him shall the tribes of Issachar shall be the tribes of Issachar, and Nathanael the son of Zuar shall be captain of the children of Issachar, and his host, and those that were numbered thereof were 54,400. And the tribe of the Zebulun and Eliab, and the son of Helon shall be captain. The son of Elon shall be the captain of the children of Zebulun, and his host, and those that were numbered thereof were 57,400. All that were numbered in the camp of Judah were 100,000, and fourscore thousand, and 6,400 throughout their armies. They shall first set forth.
Okay. Now, this is about the first group. Okay. Like this, there are three more groups. Okay. What this whole passage is saying is simply this. In this group, Judah is the main group. Along with the tribe of Judah, there are two more tribes. That is the tribe of Issachar and the tribe of Zebulun. So these three tribes, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, they form one group, and the head of that group is Judah. Okay, the total number of people is 186,400. Okay, so you can remember on the east side is Aaron and his families. They are so few in number. Following them is this big army of 186,400. And when they set out, when they are moving from their camp, this is the group that will set out first. Okay, so God says where they will pitch their camp, and when they are starting to move, this is the group that will set out. Now, like I said, they had their flag and they had their symbol. The Bible does not tell us what symbol Judah had, but we know from history books what was their symbol. So that is what we will see. On the east side was Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The color of their flag was green, and the symbol and sign of that family was lion. On the south side was Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. Reuben was the leader. The color of their flag is red, and the symbol is man. On the west side is Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. Color is of the flag is yellow. Symbol of the family is ox. Can you see where this is going? If you read, Revelation and Ezekiel, you will see the cherubim, seraphims, and all those, how their structure was. Okay. On the north side is Dan. Dan is the head of this group. Asher and Naphtali. Their color of flag is red and white, and the symbol of that group is the eagle. Okay. So these groups, okay, if you read those chapters, chapter 2, this is the summary. I have not given the numbers. Okay, but this is what God is saying. On east side, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. On the south side, Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. West side, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. On the north side, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. This is how they will camp. This is what God says. Okay, now if you look at it, one of the things you could look at it and you can see this figure. In the center is the tabernacle. On the east is Aaron and his family. On the north is Merari. On the south is Kohathites. On the west is Gershonites. And then all the other tribes like I mentioned. But remember that I mentioned that the tribe of Levi is very tiny. Okay. And these are very big numbers compared to that of other tribes. One other way where they can be arranged is like this. And you can see the sign of the cross in their camping. You can see how it looks like a cross when they camp. They didn't know this, but when they came and they arranged themselves, the structure of their camping was the structure of a cross. Okay. Now, this is one possible way they can be arranged. The other, there could be, they were not sitting in a circle around the tabernacle. God was very specific on the north, on the south, on the east, on the west, north, northeast, not southwest. Okay, north, south, east, and west. Only in these directions are you to place your camp. Okay, not in any diagonal places. So when you look at that, and when you see that the tribe of Levi is very small, so they have to be in a very long set of tents to be able to arrange themselves in the direction in which God has said. And we can, now this is not, we are not historically sure that they camped in this cross formation, but if you put them, this is one possible way they would have camped. Okay, and we can see it looks like a cross. All right, so we are already out of time. So next time we will look at further some of the things that the tribe of Levi did. That was redeeming the firstborn. We'll cover that and then we'll go to the next part of the book of Numbers. Okay, God bless you.